starting with garbage, but connecting to our lives and how they work together. So maybe you see something different from Stella today, something not about English so much. And I think you're going to really enjoy it. I saw it this morning. It's a terrific lecture. So now we can get
I haven't even started. Well, I am so excited to talk to you about this topic today. The reason I'm excited, as James said, is that this is one of my passions. This is one of the things I care about. And I think that many of you also care about our environment, our world, our planet. You want to take care of it. You want to be thoughtful about the way you live your life here. So what I'm going to be talking to you about today is garbage and how garbage impacts our world. And I'll give you some information and tips at the end to tell you more about things you can do. This is what we're going to talk about today. First of all, how much garbage do Americans make and why? What happens to all that garbage? Why is garbage a problem? And what can we do about this problem? So those are the things I'm going to talk to you about today. Before I really get started, I do want to know how many of you are intermediate students? You're in the intermediate level. How many are high or upper? High or upper, okay. Any advanced students here today? Okay, that's all right. I'd like to speak in my normal rate of speaking, the way I talk to James, the way I talk to my friends. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
You're okay if I speak quickly?
Yes.
Okay. If you need me to go faster, tell me. If you want me to go slower, tell me. Okay? But I want to challenge you today.
Yes.
All right.
We hope you speak fast as we can.
All right, I'll try to talk as fast as I can, okay? All right. So, first of all, my first thing that I want us to think about is how much garbage do we make? How much garbage do you think the average American makes in one day? What do you think?
Percentage,
Not a percentage, an amount. If we weigh it, if we give it, if we say this
Are
many...
you talking about volume or how many?
Weight, yeah. So how many pounds or how many kilos?
10,000 pounds.
One person?
No, one person.
No, one person, I think.
2
1
kilos,
pound.
2 pounds.
1 pound, 2
pounds.
kilos,
Yes, kilos maybe.
2 pounds, okay. Anyone else? What do you think?
I think it depends on the situations.
I agree.
Depends on context.
I agree. How much garbage do you make in one day? How many things do you throw away? How many food wrappers do you throw away? What do you think? Many.
I see.
How many Starbucks coffee cups? Okay. So the average American makes about 7 pounds of garbage in one day. That's about, I would say about 3 kilos of garbage in one day. Okay? Maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but when we think about our lifetime, the amount of garbage we make in a lifetime, me, as an American, is 102 tons. That's 204,000 pounds, and if you aren't familiar with the English system, that means 92,727 kilos. Or, if that's hard to understand, 20 elephants.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
That's how much garbage the average American creates in a lifetime. Okay? If everyone in the world did that, we would need 5 planets. 5 planet Earths to live, if everybody made that much garbage. Another way to think about it is in 1 year. In a year, Americans create 389.5 million tons of garbage. And again, if that's hard to understand, it would be 77.9 million elephants. Actually, I don't think there are that many elephants in the world. Certainly not. Okay? What do you think? Is it a lot?
Of course, yes.
It's a lot. It's really, really a lot.
So excuse me, is this for the Americans?
Yes.
A year?
Yes. Shocking, isn't it?
Yes.
I feel shocked when I look at this. Okay? Now, the next question is, what is wrong with Americans? What's wrong with us?
Fast food, maybe?
Oops. I don't want to do that. I want to Why do we make so much garbage? I'm going to tell you about two big reasons why we create so much garbage. The first one is the biggest one because it's very pervasive. We have in our culture a culture of consumption. That means that it's our economy, our lifestyle, our philosophy to consume. Buy things, use things, throw them away. Every day, over and over and over, we produce a product, consume the product, throw it away. And you participate in this as well, as you live in this country and you participate in our culture. Now, this culture of consumption comes from many different places, but one really interesting thing about it to me is this idea of planned obsolescence. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this idea. This idea became very popular in the 50s and 60s. That was a time of great prosperity in the United States. There was a lot of money, a lot of jobs, a lot of growth. Everything was growing, growing, growing. And people who were producing products started to think, okay, people have money, they're successful, we need them to buy more things. I'm a producer, I create this product, but I need to sell more of my product. Because you see, the American economy is based on consuming products, okay? So how can I get people to buy more products? And there's one concept that's really, I think, surprising and interesting. It's called planned obsolescence. Now this word, can everyone see this word?
Yeah.
Obsolescence. This is related to the word obsolete. How many of you have heard that word before? Obsolete. You've heard it before?
Yeah.
What kinds of things are obsolete right now?
It's so big and cumbersome
Cumbersome,
and
big,
unnecessarily.
unnecessary.
Maybe I'm not sure it's right.
No, I think you're right. Can you give me some examples of things that are obsolete? They're old, we don't use them because we have new things, better things.
We have to reform some obsolete devices in our factory.
Okay, good. Machines in the factory, yeah, definitely.
Like the machine that, type machine,
Yes, a typewriter.
typewriter.
Do you know what she means? A machine for typing?
Oh yeah.
And you can only type on this machine, okay? A typewriter is definitely obsolete. What do we use now? Computer or
Laser printer.
our iPad or our phone, right? Okay, great. What are other things that have become obsolete? We don't use them anymore.
Cars.
Cassettes, definitely.
Or can we apply this vocabulary in abstract ways? For example, we have to reform some obsolescence idea.
Yes, we can talk about it in that way for sure. Absolutely. But here we're thinking specifically about products. Now, it's natural for things to become obsolete, right? As we learn more, as we create new technology, that's normal, that's natural. We make things better, we improve them. However, what's a little bit unnatural and a little bit disappointing is the idea of planned obsolescence. And it was popularized by this person, Brooks Stevens, an American industrialist. Now again, remember, the American economy operates on this idea of consumption. Buy more, we need more things, okay? Now, if you have a product and your product is good quality, and it lasts for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you don't need to buy anything, do you? It's good. It's a good product, right? But that's a problem, because the economy needs you to buy stuff. So, in this period, people started thinking about planning for things to become obsolete. This means two things. First of all, instilling in the buyer the desire to own something a little newer, a little better, a little sooner than necessary. And I think this happens to all of us, okay? Now, I have a phone. James has my phone right now. I have a phone. It's a little bit old, but I can make a phone call with it. It works, right? But right now, I can go to Verizon and get an upgrade. I can get a better phone. Even though my old phone is good, it works, no problem, it's very likely that I'll go to Verizon and get my new phone. Because my new phone is fancy, it's cool, it has new features, new gadgets. Has this ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You don't really need a new phone, you want a new phone. It's a little better, a little different, and you don't need it. Not really, right? This is the idea of planned obsolescence. So the first part is your desire. It's a cultural thing, that desire to have something a little better, a little newer. The other way that planned obsolescence works is in the product itself. A lot of products in our society are created to break. There's a plan. It should break. If it doesn't break, you won't buy a new one. It has to break. Okay? Now, Americans see this in the types of things we buy for our homes. For example, refrigerators and toasters, microwaves. When you buy this product, you know, okay, it will probably work for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but soon I'll need to buy another one. That's crazy. There's a lot of valuable material in that product. It shouldn't break right away. There's no reason for it to. But in many of the products that we buy, it's designed to break after a certain time. That way, you go to the store, spend your money, get another one. Okay? This is part of our culture, it's part of our economy. It's very deeply ingrained in the American psyche. That's a bad part, but something that's maybe a little bit better is that we do have a very efficient waste management system. So this means that when we create waste, it's easy for us to get rid of it. It's really easy, very simple, okay? We can see this by looking at how big the industry is. In the United States, there are 20,000 waste management companies. That means these companies exist to take the garbage and do something with it. Take it away, sort it, send it to China. We send a lot of our garbage to China and it's recycled there. Okay? It's a $75 billion industry per year. That's the revenue, the profit of this industry per year. It's actually a very big business, getting rid of the garbage. Okay? Our waste management system is so efficient that we don't even think about it. Have you noticed once a week, maybe your host family or in your apartment, you take the garbage to the street, somebody comes, picks it up, and it's gone forever. You never see it again. Have you noticed that? Okay. That is the American experience of garbage. Somebody takes it away. Bye-bye. I never think about it again. We have a saying in English, out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes we use this saying to talk about people. Sometimes when people are far away from us, we might forget about them a little bit. Out of sight, out of mind. Definitely when our garbage is out of sight, we can't see it, it's out of our mind. We don't think about it. We don't spend any time at all thinking about it. This means that it's really easy to forget the problem. Because it's not in our lives every day, it just goes away, it's really easy just to think there is no problem, there's no garbage. It's a pretty clean place, pretty clean city, right? So what's the problem? What's the big deal? These two big reasons contribute to all that waste, all that garbage that we create every day, every year, over a lifetime. How much in one lifetime, do you remember? 20 elephants. That's the easiest way to remember. 102 tons, exactly. Now, in the U.S., 69% of our waste goes to a landfill, and I'm going to explain what a landfill is and what that means. Unfortunately, that's not a very good thing to do with our garbage. So all that garbage gets taken away, and we put it in a landfill. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and what I'm going to talk about at the end is a better way, a more efficient way to use our garbage. There are some countries in the world that don't send their garbage to landfills, and we're going to talk about those in a couple minutes. So where does all this waste go? The first place and the most popular place is the landfill. The second place is the ocean. So these are the two places that we're going to look at. First, we're going to look at the Puente Hills landfill. I'm just going to show you the picture. This is the Puente Hills landfill. It's the biggest landfill in the country. It is garbage. That is a mountain, and that mountain is made of garbage. That's what it is. Okay? It's quite big. It's 700 acres. That's about the size of Central Park. How many of you have been to New York and you've seen Central Park? Okay? That's the size of this garbage mountain. Okay? It's the size of Central Park. It also includes a nature preserve, so some of the really nice areas that you see around the periphery, that's a nature preserve. That's mandated by the state. The government requires this landfill to have natural areas around it. The really amazing thing about this mountain is that we Americans created this mountain. 30 years ago, in 1983, this place was a canyon. Who knows what a canyon is? What is a canyon?
The hole in the air.
A hole in the earth? Kind of, yeah. So if this is a mountain, right? This is a canyon. It's a dip in the earth, right? There are two sides here, and then there's an empty space in the middle. So this was a canyon, okay? And people put garbage in and put more garbage in and more garbage in and more garbage in until it became a mountain that is 150 meters high. Oh, of course, yes. Canyon. There are about 300 million dirty diapers in this mountain. You know diapers that babies wear? There are 300 million of them here in this mountain. And a lot of other things as well. The biggest component of this is paper and plastic, food. Unfortunately, Americans throw away a lot of food. And then baby diapers. And other things as well. There are many landfills like this all around the country. Almost every city, every community uses a landfill for its garbage. When we look at this landfill, you probably think to yourself, actually it looks kind of nice, right?
Yeah.
No, what's the big deal? Not a big problem. Okay?
But it has some effect to other environment.
Yes, yes, there are.
Because it is made of garbage, and a lot of the chemical waste must be there.
Yes, that's true.
And those chemical waste just affects the other area close to the landfill.
Exactly.
And just destroying some ecosystem.
Exactly, exactly. If you didn't hear what he said, it's absolutely true. When we put all our garbage in one place, there are a lot of toxic chemicals inside the garbage itself, and all that garbage is sitting there together, and the garbage itself creates poison, creates toxic gases, kind of spits out that gas into the environment. We have to make sure that doesn't spread, and it's very hard to capture all those toxins. It's easy for them to go out into the soil and the water and poison the earth, poison the water we drink, poison the soil where we grow our crops. So that's a big problem with landfills. Another big problem is that people thought for a long time that if you bury your garbage like this, eventually it will go away. It will break down, biodegrade, it will disappear, right? It will become soil. But that's not actually what happens to this garbage. They've dug deep down, way, way down into this garbage and taken up a sample of it from 30 years ago. Okay, so they picked out a sample and they looked at it. And unfortunately, what they found was that things were not decomposing. For example, they found a bowl of guacamole. Do you know guacamole? made with avocados from 30 years ago, and it's still green. It didn't break down. Weird, right? So the normal processes of decomposition are not happening in these places. They think it's because of the combination of different gases and not enough oxygen inside the landfill. Now, in the US, we're lucky we have a lot of space. We actually could create landfills over and over again without a problem. The landfill is not a good thing, it's a bad thing, and it's a waste, but this is not our biggest problem. The real big problem is that a lot of our garbage goes into the ocean. Now, garbage goes into the ocean everywhere, into all the oceans, but I'm going to tell you about a specific place where there's a very high concentration of garbage in the water, and I'm going to tell you how that impacts the animals there and us. What I'm going to tell you about is a place called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's in the Pacific. It's very big. In fact, it's so big that it's very difficult to collect information and data about it. It's spread out over a very, very wide area. It's a collection of garbage, not always garbage like this. This garbage, you can see the different pieces, right? When plastics go out to the ocean and they're in the sunlight and in the water, actually most of them break down into little tiny, tiny pieces, very small pieces, and they stay in the water, they float in the water. And in the Pacific Ocean, there's a place where all this plastic has gathered together. Some researchers say that it's at least the size of Texas. Do you know the state of Texas? It's the second largest state in the United States. Some people believe it's that big. That's really big. Texas is pretty big, okay? In that area, if you put a bucket in the water and lift it up, it'll be like soup, plastic soup. There's water, there's seawater, and inside that water, all kinds of pieces of plastic. Now, why is this a problem, and why is it a bigger problem than big pieces? That's a problem because all those little fish in the ocean, all those little organisms really can easily swallow and eat these little pieces of plastic. Okay? And then other fish, bigger fish, come and eat those fish. You know how the ocean works. And then we eat those fish. It is very likely that you have eaten a fair amount of plastic garbage. You have it inside your body.
Well, we cook it.
Oh, then it's fine. As long as you cook it, it's fine. So this is the way in which this impacts us. If we eat things from the ocean and other things, it's very likely that we are eating toxic plastic chemicals as a result of this problem. This also compromises the ecosystem of the ocean itself. So all those little organisms, all those small fish and little animals in the sea, they're necessary to keep the ocean healthy. And we desperately need our oceans to be healthy, right? All the oceans, the forests, the soil, these things keep our planet sustained. Without their health, we can't live on this planet. So this is a really important and dangerous aspect of garbage. Now you might think, well, why don't we just stop throwing garbage into the ocean? Why would we do that? That's a horrible idea. Well, the truth is, actually, very few countries and people put garbage in the ocean. Most of the garbage in the ocean is there by mistake, by accident. We didn't plan it. It just happened. You know, sometimes you're driving on the road and you see a plastic bag, you know what I mean? Or some papers, or a bottle. All of that stuff, that garbage, gets washed into rivers, and all of those rivers go out to the ocean. So this garbage is stuff that we didn't mean for it to be there, but because we were careless or not looking carefully enough, it's there. All right. Until now?
Yes.
Oh yes, it's there, and it is almost impossible to clean.
So you think that the ocean garbage is the result accidentally throw garbage to the oceans. And
A lot of it.
So can we consider the ocean garbage as a natural process, not the intention?
Most of it is not intentional. It's accidental. Yeah. I wouldn't call it a natural process, though. Most of our garbage is not natural.
But
It's
I
plastic.
see the actions.
Yeah.
The actions
Yeah.
is natural.
Yeah.
But I can't understand why the garbage can go to oceans.
Yeah.
Because if I throw garbage here, and how that goes with the ocean.
Right.
Go to ocean.
Right.
And nobody go to the oceans and throw the garbage, right? They throw the garbage in their place.
Mhm.
Nobody go to oceans, right?
Right.
Because
So-
there is not a culture.
So
People don't have conscience about
Mhm.
the damage that you are doing. So that's why there are a lot of garbage in the ocean.
Right. And think about the amount of garbage that is created. Remember that number I told you every year, 389 million tons? That's hard to control, right? 77 million elephants, hard to control that much stuff. So even though there are a lot of waste management systems in every country, we do try to control our waste and put it in a safe place. We make so much garbage that it's impossible to control where all that garbage goes. Okay? All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about is why should we care about this? Now maybe some of you already care very much about this, the way I do. But some of you might not realize how this can impact you personally in your life. So I want to tell you about 3 things. First of all, of course, we know that garbage impacts our environment, our planet, our world. And we all know that we need a healthy planet for us to be healthy. We need our world to continue. We need the health of our forests, our oceans, the air, the soil where we plant all our vegetables and get our food. Our planet needs to be healthy if we want to continue living here on our planet. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. And all of this garbage, as you can see, makes our planet dirty. It puts poison into our planet. Okay? That's one reason. Another reason is the lives of other people, the lives of other humans. Now, this has more to do with the extraction of materials rather than the disposal. Disposal is garbage. Extraction is when we take things out of the earth so that we can create new products. Now, we use a lot of products in our daily life that come from areas of the world where there's a lot of conflict because these materials are very valuable. I want you to think about 2 things. I want you to think about fuel, like the gasoline that you need to drive your car, fuel. And I want you to think about your phone or your computer. Inside your phone and your computer, there are a lot of little metal parts, right? All of those metal parts come from the earth. And most of them come from Africa. They're mined from Africa. And most of the areas where all those minerals are taken out of the earth are areas of great conflict. The people who live there live in very dangerous situations. And the reason why it's very dangerous for them is because a lot of people want those materials. Those minerals, those metals are very valuable. That's why there is often a lot of conflict. And think about this. When you go to buy your next phone or your next computer or your next iPad, it is very likely that someone's life was in danger in order to make that product. Maybe someone was killed or died in order to get that metal for your phone or your iPad. So that's reason number 2, to be very, very thoughtful about the materials you use and what you throw away. The third reason to think about this and take it seriously is your own happiness. Now I think we probably all agree that money and stuff doesn't really make us happy. What do you think?
Yes, that's right.
It's not the secret to happiness. Yeah? Yes? No?
Yes.
Agree? Disagree?
You can miss.
You can't buy happiness, right? And we know that. But what you might not know is that there are a lot of studies, there's a lot of research to show us this with real information. maybe we know this in our hearts, but we still really, really want a new phone, and our phone makes us happy, right? The most recent study about happiness and economic growth was done in China. In China, over the last 20 years, there has been a trend of economic growth. People's standard of living has increased. There's more money, more products. People can buy more stuff in China. But what this study indicated was that over 20 years, from 1990 to 2010, the happiness of Chinese people actually dipped lower. Okay, it fell. It dipped lower. It was at its lowest point in the year 2000, and then it slowly started to come up again. In 2010, this study shows that the Chinese population was a little happier, but not as happy as they were in 1990. Okay? So this is just one study, just one mode of research that shows us that our happiness doesn't depend on stuff. This can be a very, very difficult thing for us to accept. We're modern people, we live in a modern world, and we have a lot of things. We enjoy them, right? It's hard to accept, really, truly inside, that you don't need those things to make you happy, okay? Now, I want to show you 3 big ways that Americans, and maybe you, can think about changing this problem, creating a solution. And then after that, we'll talk about 3 small things that you can do starting today. If you want to create less garbage, there are 3 small things you can do. First of all, let's talk about the big things. I'd actually like to start with number 3. This is the biggest thing. We need a change in our philosophy, in our lifestyle. I think you can all agree that if we have a culture of consumption, our economy is based on consumption, this is a really big thing. It's difficult to change. So we have to really think about our lifestyle and make difficult choices. I'm going to show you a video of a woman. Her name is Bae Johnson. She lives near San Francisco with her family. She has a husband and 2 children. In 1 year, her family has created enough garbage to fit into 1 jar. All the garbage for her family fit into 1 jar, a mason jar, about this big, for 1 year. Amazing,
Yes.
right? She has made a lot of choices in her life to help her family reduce their waste. Okay? I'm going to show you the video. You're going to see some of her tips. After the video, we're going to talk about her 5 principles, the 5 things that she does, she thinks about all the time in order to have a low-waste lifestyle.
Welcome to my zero waste home. I'm going to show you around. But remember, the first step is to stop waste from coming into your home. These are the essentials in my kitchen. I feel that I cannot live without these things. I only shop once a week. I basically bring my jar to the store. They put it straight into the jar and apply the sticker on the top. This is our bathroom. These are the compostable toothbrushes that we use. And this is the tooth powder that we make simply with baking soda and stevia. Really only truly need these 4 things, and they're all stainless and reusable. We have a minimal closet. We keep a tight inventory, and we found that it's made it easier for us to put our outfits together and keep it under control. This is where I keep my cleaning products. For me, one of the easiest things to do was to eliminate the paper towels by reusing microfiber cloth. We've turned our own trash bin into a compost bin, and we find that it makes it much easier to compost. Basically, people come and they see that we don't have a trash choice. The choice is recycle or compost, or just eat it.
She has a website, a blog called zerowastehome.com. She gives lots and lots of tips about things that you can do in your everyday life to reduce the waste that you make. She has 5 R's that are her principles, the things that she remembers every day and tries to make her choices based on these R's. Now, you are probably familiar with some of these, okay? What do you think are some of these?
Recycle.
Recycle, absolutely.
Reduce.
Reduce,
Reuse.
reuse, exactly. What did she reuse? What things did you see? She reuses them. Towels,
Jar.
jars. What does she do with those jars? Oh,
She bring it with her to the market and buy the stuff and put it in the jar, so she don't need to carry more plastic or another valuable things. She don't throw it away.
exactly. What has she reduced in her life?
For example, water. So when she uses water, we can control the current of the water. For example, when you wash hand, somebody open the container is open, but water is wasted.
Yes,
If we open and then turn off.
exactly.
So now I can't explain my idea so succinctly, but we can control the amount of water if we use some good ways.
Yes, that's a great tip. Excellent tip. Turn off the water while you're putting the soap on your hands, right? Really simple thing you can do.
Also, she reduced the toothpaste.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
What was her toothpaste? Did you see it?
Simple.
Yeah, it's a powder with baking soda and I can't remember the other ingredients. Yeah. So she doesn't have to buy a tube and then throw away the tube, right? Okay. Her other 2 things are, first of all, this is in fact her most important one, refuse. Refuse. Say no.
Refuse.
Say no to packages, to garbage, to waste. Okay? So you can see she's made a lot of choices. She doesn't buy toothpaste. She doesn't buy shampoo. She doesn't buy paper towels. No. Okay? So her biggest principle, her biggest tip is refuse to buy a product where it's going to create waste. If it has a package, a box, or a bag, say no. Don't buy it. Okay? Kind of difficult, right? You know, when you go to the grocery store or any store, there's a box, right? And usually a bag inside the box.
Yeah.
And sometimes a bag inside the bag, inside the box, inside another bag, right? It's really difficult to say no to all of that. But that's her principle. If it comes in a package, she doesn't buy it. Okay? Her last principle is rot. And here she's referring to composting. Did you see the bin where she puts the food scraps? Did you see that at the end? Okay.
I'm sorry, what is the
Sure. What she's referring to here is taking her food waste, putting it together, and letting it decompose. Okay? And it creates, after a while, it turns into dirt, into soil. That process is called rotting or composting, when something rots. What do you think? You think you could live that lifestyle
The future.
in the future?
It worth to try.
Yeah. What I think is really exciting about her lifestyle is she says, because a lot of people say, oh, what do you do? Doesn't this take a lot of time? You can't buy all these products, so you have to make the product or make the food at home. And she says, no, actually, when she lives this way, because her life is simple, she doesn't spend as much time cleaning because she doesn't have stuff to clean, okay? She doesn't spend as much time shopping. She has more time for her family. She has 2 sons. More time for her family, more time for her hobbies. She's an artist. She likes to create art. So she finds that she has more time, more freedom in her life because she has less stuff. She also found that she saves money with this way of living. In fact, she found out that she saved from one year to the next 40% of the money that she spent for things around the house. She saved 40%. You could do a lot of things with 40% of your money.
She saved 40% of her money just because of zero waste homestyle.
Yes. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's
Now you're thinking about it. Now you're thinking, what can I do with 40% of my money? Okay? So, for the first thing we need is to change our philosophy, change our lifestyle. And then let's go to number one. Sometimes it's hard to think about such a big change. These are really big things that she did, or they feel big. But remember that big things happen because we do small things every day. Every time we make a choice, it's small. That one choice is small, but the effect can be very big. Do all of you know Gandhi? Do you know who Gandhi is? Do you remember his saying about change?
It's the change in the accumulations in quantity. They create the change of quality. Is it true?
I don't know if he said
in
that.
philosophy,
Maybe.
in some sense, accumulate quantitatively, and finally, a new change of quality happens, right?
Maybe he might have said that for sure, but the saying that I remember, maybe you've heard it before, is be the change you want to see in the world. It's easy for us to think, oh, I'm one person alone, I can't change anything. These are big, big problems.
We change ourselves.
Exactly. You want change, you want a different world, you want a better world, you do it. You be that change. You be the person who does it first. Okay, that's his principle. So small things equal big things. One small thing that American cities have started to do is eliminate, make it illegal to use plastic bags. You know those plastic bags? You see them everywhere. They're everywhere. This is actually one of our biggest sources of waste. Some cities have banned the use of plastic bags. They're not available in the city. Or, if it's available, you have to pay extra for it. Okay? Now, a few American cities have done this, and it's a really great step. It's a first step. It's a very small thing. It's a tiny thing.
So, what do you think of the separating wastes? Because before I stayed in Japan for some time, for a year, at the time Japanese just separated the waste from just, for example, plastic, metal, and the way the garbage can be burnt, and garbage cannot be burnt,
Right.
and
Well,
big objectives and small objectives.
sure. Can I explain? So in the U.S., remember how I told you our system is very efficient? It's very easy for us. One thing that's easy for us is recycling. In these blue bins here, you can put everything. Glass, plastic, tin, paper, all in one thing. And then it goes to the facility and they sort it at the facility. Okay?
But it's more time consuming and it takes more money and energy, right?
Not necessarily. But yes, the recycling is sorted, but it's very easy for us. That way we don't have an excuse. Oh, it takes too much time to separate paper from plastic. Here in Boston, you can put it all in one thing, and the city takes care of it. Yeah. But that is something that many other cities or countries do.
Do you think which one is more efficient?
I don't know the answer to that. But I don't want to keep you too much longer, so I'm going to finish my tips for you, okay? All right. The last thing that Americans should think about is changes to our waste management system. Right now, we put 69% of our garbage in landfills, and it stays there forever. Okay? It's a waste. In some other countries, in some other cities, they take the waste, they burn it, or they use some new technology to incinerate it, and they create energy. Can you think of countries that might do this? They're really good at reducing the waste.
Japan.
Japan? Germany. Germany sends 0% of its waste to landfills. No waste goes to a landfill.
What they do?
What do they do with it? They, like I said, they turn it into energy. Okay? And that's in Germany. The city that does this best is Copenhagen. Do you know where Copenhagen is?
Yeah.
It's in Denmark.
Denmark.
Okay? The city of Copenhagen takes all of its waste, sends it to a local facility where it's burned, it's incinerated, and they use that energy, because energy is created from that process. They use that energy to provide electricity and heat for the city. In fact, 6 out of 10 homes in Denmark are heated using garbage. Okay? That's an excellent way to use the garbage. We don't have to make a mountain, a big pile. We don't have to do that. That's a waste. We can take that and use that garbage as a valuable source of energy. Now, 20 years ago, Copenhagen didn't have this system. They were dependent on other countries for their fuel. They had to get their fuel from other sources. Now, they're 100% energy independent. That means they don't need to bring in fuel or energy from other places. And in fact, they export some fuel. That's a really great thing to do for your country. It means that there's very low chance to have conflict or instability around the issue of fuel and energy, which is something that is a problem for many countries in the world today, including the US. So that's a really big thing that Americans could think about, changing our system completely. Actually, in New England is the best area. Right now, we all live in New England. Massachusetts is part of New England. This is the best area in the country for waste to energy. In New England, rather than 69% of our waste going to landfills, only about 25% of the waste in New England goes to a landfill. Another 25% is recycled or composted, and then the final amount is sent to a waste-to-energy facility. So here in this part of the country, you're in the best area for waste management. A lot of our waste is turned into energy. The next thing I want to ask, and I promise we'll finish in about 5 minutes if you're hungry or you're tired, what are some things you can do today, or maybe you already do these things, small things you can do to reduce your waste? Yes! Do you have one? Not today? You have one? Can you show us? Does anyone else have one? A reusable mug or cup or thermos? This is a really simple thing you can do, okay? This is my water bottle, and this is my coffee mug. I try to use these every day, use them again and again and again. I can take this to Starbucks, give it to them. They'll put my coffee in here, or my cappuccino, or my latte. Okay? And they give me a discount. All right? So that's something really small that you can do. How many of you have a water bottle? Oh, good. That's wonderful. How many of you use your water bottle every day? Good. Thank you. Thank you. How many of you will start using your water bottle tomorrow? Thank you. Thank you so much. Please do that. It seems small, but it's actually a really big thing. Okay? Any other things that you can do? Any other ideas?
For example, I come here just 4 days ago, and I went to the Subway, and they, after the sandwich, they give a lot of tissue. Just use, and I think it's enough. It's so many. So I just only watch it
Yeah,
and then use.
exactly. So you're using this principle, right? Reduce.
Reduce.
You don't need 10 napkins.
Yes.
One is enough. Absolutely. Here are a couple other ideas for you. Just like we said, bring your own coffee cup or water bottle. Bring your own bag to the store. You don't need their plastic bag. Do you really need it? Is it so valuable to you that you have to have their plastic bag? No, not really, right? So get a bag that you like. Bring it with you when you go shopping for groceries, for clothes, to CVS. Can you do that? Will you do it?
Yes.
hard to refuse. That's a difficult choice. But will you think about making that choice?
Maybe you can get it next time, and then next time if you're pregnant.
Bring it back next time. Okay, I like that idea. Okay. The last thing that I want to suggest is to buy food and other items with as little packaging as possible. Most of the garbage we create in the US is from packaging, the packages around the products. We don't need that.
Especially Christmas.
Especially around Christmas, yes, absolutely. We really, really don't need that stuff. In fact, did you know, how many of you wash your hair? Okay. Do you use shampoo to wash your hair? In a bottle? You buy it in the bottle? Did you know that the bottle costs 3 times as much as the shampoo inside?
Really?
Yes. The bottle that your shampoo came in is more valuable, 3 times more valuable than the shampoo inside.
I don't think so. It's crazy.
And what do we do with it? What do we do with that bottle when we finish? We throw it away. Now, we don't have to do that. You can actually buy shampoo that's like soap.
Yeah.
It's a bar. Have you seen it before? No? Okay. It can be a little difficult to find, but you can definitely buy it at Whole Foods or at Harvest Food Co-op. So there's Whole Foods around the city. Harvest Co-op is in Jamaica Plain and Central Square. There you can buy shampoo with no package. It's just a bar. It works really well. I use it on my hair. Okay? You can also buy soap for your body without any packaging. Okay? That's something really small, really tiny thing you can start doing right away. So that's one thing, soap. Another thing to think about is your vegetables and your food. How many of you buy groceries? Not many people? Well, think about this next time you're in the grocery store, you're buying fruit or vegetables. Do you really need a package around your fruit? I hope not. I hope you don't feel like you need it. Do you really need to put your tomatoes into a plastic bag? No. So just make that it's a small choice, a really small choice, but it does actually make a difference. So those are a few small things you can do. Eva?
Frequent the vendors at a Haymarket.
Yeah, there's a vegetable market, vegetable and fruit market every Wednesday and Friday.
Every Wednesday, every Friday and Saturday, sorry.
Friday and Saturday, right near the Haymarket station. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great place to buy your fruit. Bring your own bag, right? Bring your bag with you and fill it up, okay? Guys, these are small things you can do. The last thing that I hope you will do is educate yourself more. Get more information about this topic. For me, the more I learn, the more I read, the more passionate I feel. This is a very important issue for us to think about in our world. One really important book that I read is called The Story of Stuff. There's a book. The book is great, but there's also a video online. The video is 20 minutes. It's really easy to understand. You can go there today and watch it. You will get so much information from this video about stuff. Where does it come from? How is it made? Where does it go when I'm finished with it? And what does that mean for my life? Okay? So I really recommend this website. It's called The Story of Stuff. They have this video. This is the most important video, but they also have other videos about different products. For example, the story of the plastic water bottle. You can learn all about plastic water bottles there. Another thing you can do is come to next month's lecture. Next month we have a lecture on composting. So that's where you can learn how to take your food, and instead of wasting your food and throwing it away, you can turn that food into soil, into dirt. Okay? That's called composting. That process is called composting. Here in our school, the teachers compost. In the teacher's room, there's a bucket like that bucket. The teachers put all their food scraps in there, and someone takes that every week and brings it to a local facility where they make compost. So these are 2 ways that you can get more information about this topic. I'm going to stop there. Do you have any questions for me or anything you want to say to everyone here? Maybe you have an idea or a tip for us? Any questions or suggestions?
Using which there's two ways to solve the problem in general. One is every person change his or her actions. Another one is the country change the law.
Yes,
Two ways.
I agree.
So do you think which one is more important?
Both are
For
equally
example,
important.
taking Boston as an example, for instance, in case of Boston, which one is more efficient and more important and more easily applied?
Yeah, well think about it this way. His question is which one is more important? Should individual people make changes or should the government, countries make laws and make changes? Think about it, this is how I think about that. What is the government? The government is made up of people, individual people. That means that yes, the government should make laws, they should make big changes to our culture, but individual people in the government have to make those decisions. That means every single time we have this discussion, it's an individual choice. It's our responsibility, the individual person's responsibility to make this change. That's my answer to that question. Any other questions or suggestions or ideas? No? Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Oh, Eva has something to say.
There are 2 buckets in every classroom. Which one does your paper Starbucks cup go in?
Recycle.
Yeah. What about the sandwich wrap? That's plastic.
This is for food.
What about paper?
Paper and recycle.
Alright, class is over. But please think about this. Every time you go to throw something away, make a decision to put it in the right place.
I've seen the video, but
Thanks.
they said that recycling is not really recycle.
Right.